TIFU by telling my wife that I would date again if she died.
Throwaway me, 36M, and my wife Pam, 34F, have been together for over 10 years. Recently, our friend Kevin, 38M, started dating his new girlfriend. His wife passed away about 3 years ago. Pam and I were in bed together when she started talking about Kevin. She said that she was disappointed in Kevin for dating again so soon. She claimed that Kevin is disrespecting his wife's memory by moving on to someone else. I responded by saying that everyone processes the loss of a partner differently. I told her that I see no problem with Kevin moving on, and I'm sure his wife would want him to be happy again. Pam looked shocked and asked me if I really didn't see a problem with it. I told her that I had no issues with it, it is Kevin's life after all. She asked me what I would do if she ever passed away. I told her that I can't give a definitive answer because I'm not planning on that happening. She continued to probe me and asked if I would ever date again or get remarried. I responded, probably. I love you to death and would be heartbroken if you died, but life goes on. I can't stop living my life just because you're gone. She looked drained and said, "Am I really that easy to get over?" I told her, "Honey, that's not what I meant. I'll always have a special place in my heart for you, but that doesn't mean I can't love anyone else. I would want you to move on too if I died." She just stared at the wall and said, "I get it." It's been 3 days and Pam is still depressed over the whole thing. Her sister called me earlier today and trashed me for what I said. She said that I should have kept that to myself, and I was a scumbag for basically telling Pam she can be replaced. Pam still won't speak to me and everything is really tense around the house. Now Pam is fully convinced that I'm not in love with her, and I'm just waiting for her to die so I can replace her with a new toy. TLDR, I told my wife that I would date again if she died. Now she thinks that I'm not in love with her anymore.
TIFU.
Okay, this started yesterday. I am 36 and working from home, in a small apartment where my girlfriend, F31, and 13-month-old daughter live. My home office has its benefits, seeking more of my daughter, and no traveling, which usually is a burden but knows I miss it. Our philosophy is that it takes a village to raise a person, a child, and a couple. So we love our friends and the door is open for them, always. Which is a blessing, that friends feel welcome enough to drop in, but also a curse if you are working from home. Because working from home is doable, but for me to be able to do this I need to log in a lot. For every thing. I mean 60 times a day or more. So much so, that I got so fed up, that I used fingerprint ID for all my logins. Here the fuck up begins. Our entire village was at our home, in our living room drinking coffee/tea, and welcome as S***T. 3 young children and all one big happy joy. I just needed to get my charger, while at work in the side room, from the living room. I made the mistake of going to get it myself, saying hi to everyone, all lovely. But, while maneuvering and saying hi, the foot placement was somewhat difficult. Too many toys, kids and people. So I retrieved my charger, felt really good, and made a confident turn. And crack crunch, I stepped on a plastic boat, a favorite toy of my daughter. She started wailing, everyone looked at me, my GF looked apologetic for the mess, and my phone started ringing for the next meeting. I hurried over and did the meeting. That night, I felt bad as hell, and had an idea. I can fix that crunched up floatable of hers. I got glue, the strong one, I got the remains of said boat, and I got a beer, maybe more than one. I had a busy day. So I started off. My GF was fast asleep since she had to start at 6 in the morning, elderly care. So the place to myself, everyone fast asleep and dad is going to fix this. Within 2 minutes I glued 4 fingers together. Did not fix the boat and still have a glue burn on my cheek. I spent 2 hours, very silently, trying to find some mixture of chemicals that could help me, but with 2 barely functioning hands I made a complete mess. In the end a knife helped me to separate my fingers, I gave up, and went to bed. The next morning, I woke up with a barrage of questions from my GF about all the chemicals and bowls which I mixed them in. This was at 5:30, with hands like they are gloved with glue and burned by fire. I explained, she laughed her ass off. I took my kid to daycare by bike, and got home to start my job. None of my fucking devices could read my fingerprints. None. And I do not know my passwords, that's why I have, or had, my fingerprints. Can't even log into my laptop. So I had to call my girlfriend to call my work to call me, so I could get transferred to the IT department to reset every password I had to welcome 01. At that point, it was 2 in the afternoon, and I decided to take a beer, while looking at the destroyed mishandled toy boat while thinking, I did my best. Hope you enjoyed it. In the end, I did, but now I have sandpaper at hand to try to get the glue off. Any tips or tricks? TLDR, I tried to fix my daughter's boat and got locked out of everything and missed a day of work.
TIFU by sending my father to the emergency room in an ambulance.
This happened last night. I, 51, and my husband, M53, live with my dad, M76. He's in pretty good health, but last night after I went to bed, his girlfriend called me. She said she had been talking to him on the phone, he was just out in the living room, and she thought something was wrong. She said he wasn't making sense and I needed to check on him. When I went out there, he was sitting on the couch kind of just blinking. I started trying to figure out what was going on and he said he just didn't feel right. He was dizzy, nauseated and had blurry vision. I first started thinking stroke and tried to remember what you're supposed to look for. I asked him to lift his arms and he thought that he couldn't. I immediately decided to take him to urgent care, but by the time I got my shoes on, he decided that we should call an ambulance. He said something is really wrong, I can't even think straight. While we were waiting for the ambulance, I was holding his hand telling him everything was going to be okay, and he said that he wasn't ready yet, and I held back tears as I said he wasn't going anywhere and he was going to be fine. In just a few minutes, rescue showed up and took his blood pressure, finger stick for blood sugar, pulse, and some tests to look for stroke. Everything seemed okay, but they said he needed to go to the ER to get checked out, so off he went. I got a text from his GF about an hour later saying she had tried to talk to my dad, but he just kept laughing. Again, I was concerned about stroke. I was not allowed up at the hospital due to COVID, so the only way I could get information on his condition was to talk to him. He said they were doing a bunch of tests, blood work, echocardiogram, EKG, I'm not sure what else. Sometime after midnight, he told me he was feeling much better but still needed to know what happened. He said he had been admitted but was still in the ER as no beds were available. I had been keeping my daughter, 30F, updated as of course she was very concerned. This morning she gave him a call and jokingly asked if he had eaten one of the cupcakes she had made me for Christmas. He said, "Do you mean the one in the Christmas box on the counter?" "Yes, I ate half." Well, my dad is a recovering alcoholic sober and an AA for 42 years. My daughter had made me cannabis cupcakes for Christmas. In my defense, my dad was present when I opened them and we joked about how they were very strong and I should only eat about 1/4 of one. He says he forgot. They were also very weedy tasting and he just said it tasted good to him. TLDR sent my senior father to the ER in an ambulance because I thought he was having a stroke or heart attack, only to find out I should be more careful with my cannabis baked goods.
TIFU by moving into the same duplex as my ex.
So a little backstory, I dated a guy for just shy of 3.5 years and ultimately parted ways with him at the beginning of 2019. This particular ex was quite honestly the worst thing that ever happened to me. Narcissist, pathological liar, mentally and emotionally abusive, you know, that kind of ex. All of which is an incredibly important mention for this story. In July of 2019, I sparked up a new relationship with someone else, whom I married in November 2021. In September 2021, my now husband and I were abruptly hit with the news that we'd need to move from where we were staying because the original owners, my parents, I took over their mortgage for a few years so they could live across the country, were coming back home. As anybody who's been in the search of home lately knows, the prices are absolutely insane. So, we decided that since I have a job that allows me to travel, we'd do that for a while. Between October and December, we traveled hayhound, but between some minor car issues, grief with the death of my best friend, and my husband ready to find work of his own again, we decided we wanted to try and settle down. My husband's friend let him know of a duplex that was becoming available and gave us the landlord's information. I knew that the price of rent would be a steal, so I did not hesitate to jump on the opportunity. And by the end of December, we had signed the lease and moved in. As I was neatly stacking some boxes in our new living room, my husband walked in and went, "So, I'm pretty sure your ex is our neighbor." I laughed at him and went, "No, he's not, stop." However, he insisted that it was him. I texted our landlord and casually said, "Hey, so I forgot to ask you what our immediate neighbor's name was so we could be better acquainted when we finally meet them?" In which he very shortly replied with my ex's name. As for why my description of him, in the beginning, was important, I didn't feel anything at all when it was confirmed that it was my ex living next door. I actually spent the following 30 minutes in tears from laughter because of course that would be the nail in my 2021 coffin. I'm not mad, I'm not sad. I feel absolutely nothing at all about it, and after everything, I couldn't feel more empowered. TLDR, was in an extremely toxic relationship with someone between 2015 to 2019. Got married to someone absolutely amazing. Moved into a new duplex with my new husband and my ex lives directly next door to us, in the same duplex. Same house, just a wall between his side and ours.
TIFU by ordering a lot of free stuff online to somebody else's house.
For reference to this story, I am 18 years old and very paranoid. So the USPS, United States Postal Service, website allows you to order cardboard boxes and other things delivered directly to your home or business free of charge, without shipping fees. One fateful night about a month ago, my friend, we'll call him Dave, casually brought this simple fact up during a voice call. I proceeded to stream myself building a program that would click in all the right places to order 5 cardboard boxes and other things to Dave's address. The program would then go back to the main page and start all over again. I let it run for a few hours before accidentally turning off my computer before I went to bed, which ended the program. We all thought it was funny for a while and none of us believed any items would actually show up. A week or so later, Daniel or whatever the fuck I'm calling him receives a text that goes as follows. "Hello from USPS. We are confirming your recent order of 4,500 large boxes, 2,000 cremation kit, XL and 1,000 ID sticker. To verify this is a real order, please respond confirm. Otherwise, you can disregard this text. Confirm." Yet another week later Daniel sends me a picture of his garage, which contains a large stack of packaged cardboard boxes in the corner. It seemed too small to be thousands like the text said, but nothing terrible happened and once again, we all thought it was funny. I woke up this morning with several texts from Daniel explaining that 30 more boxes arrived overnight. His stepdad is pissed, and he said he wants me to come to pick them up or he'll file a report to the police. First off, I don't want to talk to this dude angry stepdad. I am much less concerned about where I'm gonna put these things than if he's going to confront me. Secondly, if more boxes are going to continue to show up I am fucked. Only 60 boxes have shown up so far out of the 4,500 USPS promised. Along with the 2,000 cremation kits and 1,000 sticker rolls. If these keep showing up at a rate of 30 boxes per week they are not going to stop coming until 2028. I only now realize how bad I fucked up here. Not only am I wasting hundreds of dollars in taxpayer money. I understand that this is like 70% my fault, but I am only half mentally prepared to pick up those 60 boxes in a few hours. How am I going to explain to this angry bald man that this is going to become a regular occurrence? How likely am I going to be sued? TLDR, I fucked up by ordering a bunch of random junk to my friend's house, and now I have to deal with his angry parents and most of the stuff hasn't even arrived yet.
TIFU by destroying my 5-plus-year-old sketchbook.
Last night I came home from work and threw my sweater into my laundry basket, not knowing that, in the dark, it knocked over my sketchbook from my shelf into the basket. I went to do laundry and when I went to unload the washer, bits and pieces of paper were scattered all over my clothing. At first, I was inclined to laugh, not knowing what possibly could have been in my pockets for there to be this much paper, but I was quickly horrified when I saw the brown leather of the book poking under a pair of jeans. At first, I was in shock, pulling it out of the heap of wet clothes. And as soon as I set the book down, I started viciously sobbing. I have never had this much emotional attachment to anything in my life, but the pain I felt losing my sketchbook was like losing a dear friend. I don't think I've cried that hard since my grandfather passed, and I had to reminisce all the hard times that book got me through, all the painstakingly intricate and emotional drawings that were scrawled out on each page, all the creative ideas for comic books and animations I had. They were all gone in one act of negligence. I know I can draw more, but it seems so hard lately, and now that 5 years of work is gone, I don't know where to start. TLDR, I didn't check the laundry before doing it, and now my sketchbook of 5+ years has been ruined from the wash.
TIFU by mixing gum and candy, making a stretchy glue that stuck to every surface of my mouth.
A few years back, my place of employment gave out a bag of cheap mixed candy from the grocery store after a meeting. It included double bubble gum and fruities. After chewing the gum until it was bland, I thought I'd just pop in a fruity to wake it up again. What followed was the most horrifying oral sensation I've ever experienced. Something in the fruity reacted with the gum chemically to make it stick to my teeth, my tongue, and the roof of my mouth. Not just a mild stick. Full adhesion. If you've ever used that heavy-duty double-sided tape that can hold 30 pounds and feels like it wants to pull your skin off, it was like that, but stretchy and in my mouth with no good way to grip it. I had to use my fingers to pull at the gum until it broke like silly putty, leaving the other half still stuck to my tongue and teeth. It was stuck pretty far back on my tongue too, and I was terrified imagining it sticking in my throat. I kept pulling again and again, tugging hard at my taste buds, until I finally freed my tongue. I bought a bag of chips to chew and break up what was left on my teeth, and luckily the abrasive chips were able to scrape off and bind to the remaining fruit glue, which I spit out. I still have nightmares sometimes about my mouth being filled with gummy glue. TLDR, the title sums it up.
TIFU by letting my uncle fall like Neo dodging bullets in the Matrix.
My uncle finished his treatment back in January 2021 and barely be able to walk. He is very weak and slow. I live near him, so I usually pick him up to his checkup appointment on Monday every week. My uncle is 85 years old and he is the most wonderful person in my life. He taught me many lessons, he shaped me to become the man I am today, and I will always remember the warm heart that has helped me till today. Sadly, out of many lessons that I have learned, I did not learn how to handle the elderly properly, especially weak and close to immobile elders. On that day, I picked him up as usual from his appointment, and for the first time, I had to carry him on my back down the stairs to the car. I have trained my whole life for situations like this, and I carried him on my back easily down every step of the stair to the car. I know he is weak and slow, so I squatted down and bent forward to lower him on his feet while he is still lying on my back. But somehow, his belly is so big that it pressed against my back and kind of bounced him back. As I lowered him, his feet were on the ground with both of my hands holding his thighs, but still, he fell while he was in that Neo dodging bullets in the Matrix position. I did not know what he landed first, his bottom, his back, or his head, but after some checkup it was just a small bump on the back of his head and he was fine until now. I know there will be some damage and he recently has to go through some stroke prevention treatment along with high blood pressure and obesity. It was all because of me, it was my fault that his health was damaged and nearly got a stroke. My dad cheered me up saying it was an accident and I was just helping my uncle, but I can't live with this guilt. I'm on my knees every minute hoping my uncle is fine and willing to do anything to help him, but he is getting weaker and weaker every day and I feel it is all because of me. TLDR, I carried my uncle all the way down the stair on my back and failed to keep him up straight. As I was lowering him down in the squatted position, he fell on his back while his feet were still on the ground, just like Neo dodging bullets in the Matrix.
TIFU by thinking I was more flexible than I am.
This happened 2 hours ago. My so was walking home from work and asked me to come to meet her. It's only a 10-minute walk, so I knew she was only a block or two away. I put down what I was doing, ran downstairs, and started down the sidewalk. We live on a small incline, so the sidewalk has a couple of steps now and then on the way down. Being the idiot that I am, I decided to run to meet her, and in my excitement, I jumped down the groups of steps as I got to them. Well, at the last jump, literally 2 steps, I lifted my arms in a ninja pose and landed on an odd feeling in my upper back lower neck. I walked it off, met up with my so and walked home. The feeling stuck around and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was pinched or just needed to be popped. so I tried to crack my neck and stretched. No dice. I'll preface this next part by saying I've always been flexible and used to love cracking my neck, back, arms, or whatever. I can put my legs behind my head and walk on my hands, so stretching is no stranger to me. By the time we got home, the discomfort in my neck/back was so irritating that I was determined to pop whatever it was back into place. I sat in a chair and tried to pop my spine by leaning back over the top of the chair and applying pressure to my back. Admittedly, I got a couple of good pops, but when I stood back up, it was incredibly painful to move my head in any direction. I quickly realized I could hardly move without intense pain. I've managed to lie down and find a position that doesn't hurt as bad, but getting back up or turning my head is almost impossible. I'll be calling a chiropractor first thing in the morning. TLDR, jumped like a ninja, popped something, thought I could fix it, and now I can barely move. Please take care of your spine, people, you only get one.
TIFU by eating too many tiny tacos and yakking on my boyfriend.
I am absolutely mortified and my boyfriend thinks it's absolutely hysterical. I decided to come to visit him for the next few days and we were playing video games and just decided to order some fast food. Where I live we don't have a Jack in the Box and I for some reason love those stupid tiny tacos from them. So since they're cheap I ordered like 30 of them and I never eat them all half the time and end up eating them later. But today I ate all 30 and my stomach didn't like it. Flash forward a bit and I was trying to get out of the bed and I went to hop over him and I just fucking yacked all over his chest. He found it way too frickin' funny and honestly I really want to die. Lamau is 24, too young to go cause it's so embarrassing. I can laugh about it now cause it is kind of funny but I can't believe it. TLDR, I ate 30 tiny tacos from Jack in the Box and my stomach didn't like it, I yacked on my boyfriend.